Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters in the Alliance. And my queen, Amani Mari, is the co founder. I have some issues with what's going on in the government right about now. The issue with Jazmine Headley, the issue with Cyntoia Brown is just appalling. All right. They always like to label those of us who rebel against this unjust system as terrorists. Where it's been like that for centuries for anybody who fights against racism. That's what you're labeled as. You're always considered to be a troublemaker for those who cause trouble. To me, America is like the bully. And whenever you stand up to the bully, you beat the bully up, then the bully turns around to tell you what you did wasn't fair because you wouldn't allow them as a bully to continue to keep bullying you. I believe that's what happens when we talk about racism. I believe that when you're dealing with a situation like what happened to Jazmine Headley, it's just appalling. CBS News New York started talking about the sister had credit fraud instead of talking about what actually occurred to the woman. They want to talk about everything else other than the situation at hand. They did the same thing to Philandro Castile girlfriend, want to bring up all the stuff that had occurred that she did that had absolutely nothing to do with what had happened to Philandro Castile. They did the same thing to Alton Sterling, want to talk about, his criminal record, but didn't want to deal with the police brutality. Didn't want to deal with the fact that our brothers was murdered. They didn't want to deal with that. And I am sick and tired of a country that wants you to go overseas and fight for them, just like they did to our ancestors, like the Tuskegee Airmen, and said they didn't perform the way that they did, and they performed better than those Caucasian races that were out there fighting. I'm sick of them taking credibility for patents that we created. They whitewash everything. When they did the movies about Moses, they had him as being Caucasian. They had the commissions as being Caucasian. They whitewashed Kemet, Caucasian, Nefertiti. Even made her look like a Caucasian. A man that she had a right to kill. This young lady was being sex trafficked, traumatized, abused. And she defended herself and they're saying, oh, she's a murderer. This is absolutely bananas. This is absolutely ludicrous. It blows my mind how they tried to make Jazmine Headley the problem person when she was only defending her child. They violently tried to take this sister's child out of her hand and she defended herself. But see, CBS News New York, they didn't want to talk about how the judge had dropped the charges and said she had a right to do what she did. Cyntoia Brown, man, she been in there ever since she was 16 years old. She been in there 13 years. And they're telling her that she has to do life in prison and she won't even have a right to parole until she's 61 years old. And right now they fight for clemency for this queen. Here again, you see an unjust system. Here again, you know why that they want us in prison so they can continue to sell their stocks in prison shares. Here's what happens to brothers, and I talked to one brother by the name of, his last name is McIntosh. And that brother, he was wrongfully convicted as well. You know what I'm saying? And oh yeah, they gave him a ride to college and everything else like that. No, that's not enough. How about we're giving that brother some financial compensation? And it still won't compensate for what they actually did for him. You couldn't even pay him enough money for taking away all those years of his life that he served in there for 27 years. You can't compensate a man for something like that. But there's some of our brothers and sisters who were wrongfully convicted, who were released from prison, and they did nothing for them. These Caucasian people always continuously try to make themselves to be so moral, but yet they're immoral. Look at what happened to Emmett Till. When the murderer, when the murderer, and I say murderer because she lied on him, all right, so she got him killed. So in essence, she's a murderer. All right. So when she confessed, they did nothing to her. But look what they did to Bill Cosby. At the age he's at. She's 80 plus years old. So is Bill Cosby. But they still convicted him and put him in prison. So she lied. She lied in court. That is a federal offense. She lied. But nothing happened to her. But they're going to put Bill Cosby in prison. But they want our children and they want us to stand up and salute the flag. Our country tease of the sweet land of liberty. Get out of here. What liberty? Where's the freedom? When our brothers and sisters and our elders that are coming from Africa come over here and they're forced by law to change their names. Where's the freedom at in that? Why do we have sisters who has cases against the government because they're being persecuted because of them having broidered hair, which is our culture? Justice for all? Really? Why did America then take care of the Ashkenazis, the Khazari? Why? Compensated them. But no reparations for us. But there's justice for all. They're a bunch of hypocrites and a bunch of liars. Oh, we so sorry, African people, for what happened to you. Then won't you give us back our land then? Won't you give the indigenous people of this continent that's so-called called America, won't you give back the indigenous people their land then? Won't you help them out then? So if you so-called sorry, Mr. European man and woman, if you so sorry, then why is it that these people out on the reservations are still having issues economically then? What have you done to help these people? In fact, European man, what have you done to help us? Oh, you think because you throw some crumbs from the table that our ancestors made, you throw us a few dollars here and there from the money that you took from our ancestors that they rightfully own because they worked, you never compensated them for it, right? But you so just, right? You have done nothing for us, and I'm not buying it. I'm not buying your eloquent speeches about what you're going to do for our people when you currently are not doing nothing for our people. So why would I believe you when you get in office that you're going to do something for our people and you haven't done nothing for our people before you got in office? You don't have no track record whatsoever of doing anything for our people. And that goes for you sellout Negroes out there too who want our people to vote for you, and you don't have no track record of doing anything for our people whatsoever. And I'm not voting for you Oreo cookie Negroes out there who are ashamed of brothers and sisters like myself who have African pride. You won't get nothing from me, you Caucasian butt kisser. And that's the bottom line. And Negroes like you will get us killed. When are we going to stop allowing them to define us? Kuji Chagalia. We need to define ourselves. We let them tell us, oh, we're too African. No, don't put an African face on your businesses. I'm sick and tired of these crackers trying to tell us what is good and what is bad. You are in no moral position, European, to tell us what's right or wrong, because even your own people had to put laws in place for your own selves. We're not the ones that laws had to be written for about discrimination. It was you. When did we take your people away from your country and strip you of your culture and made you work for free? But you think that you got a moral position to teach us? Yeah, you want to call out what we did in our neighborhoods when you talking about we killing each other. Well, you kill your own people too for sending them over to these wars to fight over your greed. How about that? And that's the bottom line. It is a shame that CBS News want to talk about this sister had a credit card fraud, and I'm talking about Jazmine Headley. They want to talk about she had a credit card fraud instead of talking about the sister experienced police brutality and her baby violently being attempted to being ripped out of her hands. Violently, in a violent attempt to rip a 1-year-old child from out of his mother's arms. You don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about how the cops were called on her and she was considered to be obstructing a doorway when the only thing they had to simply talk to her about was her moving and giving her a chair for her to sit in. Why couldn't they do that? Why couldn't they bring out a chair for the sister to sit in with a 1-year-old child? No, instead, here we go again. They want to call the cops on the sister, talking about she causing problems. And then on top of that, then they tried to get the sister child taken away from her, saying she's an unfit mother because she was resisting allowing the police to take her child away. And then what tripped me out too, CBS News New York, they didn't want to talk about the fact that the judge overruled the case and said she had a right to do it. This is a judge. A judge said this, which surprises me. I'm amazed that even happened. Wow. But then you got this sister, Cyntoia Brown. Say, for instance, she does get clemency. What are they going to do for that sister? Huh? It wouldn't surprise me if they do nothing, because they did nothing for our brothers and sisters that have been wrongfully convicted. Nothing for them. Then it's hard for them to find a job. And then they left with no choice but, in some cases, I mean, to go to a life of crime. I mean, some people make the right choice, and unfortunately, some people make the wrong choice and go to a life of crime. Some people become entrepreneurs and they make a way for themselves rather than turning to a life of crime. But when a man is hungry and a woman is hungry, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you can say what you want. But when you're in that situation, would you really know what you would do? You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why we have to rise up and we need to help each other. Ujima, UJIMA, collective work and responsibility, making our brothers and sisters our problems, and solving our problems together. I love that Kwanzaa principle. Then that blows my mind too, how, these brainwashed Christian Negroes, as well as these, crackers, want to try to tell us, that our spirituality is satanic. When Kwanzaa principles are infused with love and peace and unity. and joy. Even Ifa teaches us to be people of Uwa Pele. That's called good character. Uwa Pele is good character. Even our prayers are infused with the community, loving the community, and praying for our brothers and sisters and our friends. I had enough. I had enough. I've had enough of these crackers, and I had enough of these brainwashed Oreo cookies. Enough is enough. I am Asante. I am Bantu. And I was going to say the other word instead of Cherokee, but I don't want to mess it up. My cousin, he's a chief, man. He taught me the proper word, to say instead of Cherokee. That's because that's a Caucasian name. You know what I'm saying? That didn't come just like Seminole. It's not Seminoles. It's Shimole. You know what I'm saying? It's not that either. And it's not Ashanti. It's Asante. It's Asante, not Ashanti. Okay, that's the proper way. But I tell you what, though, family, we have to come together as a people. We have to start fighting, man. I'm not just talking about, being violent. I'm just saying defending ourselves when we need to. If we have to be, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? But, we need to fight, man. We need to fight against the system. We have to stop allowing them to define us and tell us, what's beautiful and what's not. These crackers are in no more position to tell us anything about what's moral and what's not, because they think because they speak proper grammar, they have on Imani suits and Louis Vuitton clothes, and they're driving Bentleys and Mercedes Benzes, which they got from the blood of our ancestors. Yeah, these crackers got there by the blood of our ancestors. That's how they got there. I have no respect for them whatsoever. Don't come to me telling me you sorry about what my ancestors went through. If you so sorry, then won't you give us back our land? Won't you give us? And that's the reason why I love what they're doing over in Africa. They're kicking those crackers out of there. The EFF. Taking back their land. And that's just the bottom line. I'm not European. I'm not going to dress like a European. The only reason why I talk like a European, because I was born here and I started speaking this language by default. And now I'm in the process of learning my African tongue, Twi, which is a part of the Asante, the Akan people. And that's AKAN. So I may be bilingual in a minute. actually, be probably trilingual, but excuse me. Speaking 3 languages because I'm working on Swahili too. So, for those of you, who tuned in, I want to say to you, Asante Sana, which in Swahili, which means thank you very much. So you have a blessed one, family. I love you. I thank you all for your support. Continue to fight this good fight, family. Keep fighting until the day we die, because had our ancestors not done what we're doing, we wouldn't even have the minuscule liberties that we have today, if you won't even call it that. You know what I'm saying? We still got a battle to fight. We still got a battle to fight. All right? And the battle is not over until discrimination is over. So as long as discrimination exists, we still are in a war. Peace, love, power to all of the people. Be blessed.